Ladies and gentlemen, this is David Warner. This is my inaugural broadcast, Last Chance Radio. We call it that because we feel like perhaps this is the last bastion of truth that will be brought to you without bias and intended to bring to you the things that are happening in the world that are unfortunately being brought to light by our current administration. My intent is not to pick on the president per se and endlessly. However, this scenario that we're looking at here, looking at this map, in the yellow is of the Kurdish homeland, and the red area is, Syria direct. Now, what's happened here is that because of Donald Trump's recent saying that he's going to pull people out, especially Americans, etc., and giving the go-ahead to the lawless Erdogan of Turkey, will now leave the Kurdish people at their own behest, at their own mercy. And I have to tell you something. And this is directly from me, okay? Going all the way back into the 90s, I was lucky enough to work for corporations and NGOs, et cetera, as a protection officer for certain NGOs going in and providing assistance, humanitarian assistance, etc., and also at certain times providing executive protection for certain people in those areas. I know Erbil. I know a lot about that place, and I don't want to go too far into all of that, except I will say this, is that I had personally the opportunity to be side by side with some of the Kurdish fighters, the YPG, who were fighting directly against ISIS, the black flag waving demons who, as far as I'm concerned, they're no different than the Nazis of 36, 39, 40 to 44 to 45 when we finally went in there and dealt with the Nazis. Now, it is imperative for people to understand, and this is my only hope in bringing this brief broadcast to you, and this is my first broadcast, and I wasn't ready to really go live yet. However, I feel so deeply, I feel so strongly about how right now we are leaving these people who have stood by us repetitively. And let me give you just a brief story. When we went into Iraq, the United States went into Iraq, and the British came with us, and so did the Germans. They were flying Eurofighters and Harriers, and we were flying our FA-18 Hornets and providing air-to-ground support. We did suffer some catastrophic damages to aircraft flying over those regions and those areas, and one of the things that the pilots were always told is get out up over where the Kurdish are before you eject. And if they did that, they knew that the YPG, the Kurds, would take care of them and make sure that they got repatriated to the United States forces. And also, the YPG, the Kurds, are very freedom-loving, democratic, want to run their own place. And they believe in America. And they love America because it stands directly in parallel, in line with how they want their own country to run. So if you consider these things and you consider how much they helped our soldiers, and when I was with them, I got to tell you, there were times where a Kurdish commander would come up to me and go, if you don't get your head down and fall back a little bit, I'm going to kick your ass. And he wasn't kidding. And the reason was that he did not want an American dying under his command because it would make him look bad. It would make them look bad. And they wanted to continuously prove, that they were on the side of freedom. They carried pictures of the Statue of Liberty with them. Think about that for a minute. Now, like I told you, this is my inaugural piece. I did not plan on coming live tonight. I am not quite ready to go full live broadcasting. But I want you to look at this map. And I want you to see up in that yellow area, to the north, I wish I could point to that. To the north of that yellow line is Turkey. Okay? Now, Turkey is now bombing and artillery shelling and doing all kinds of nasty stuff along that line. And they say, we just want to create a safety buffer zone because the Kurds are quote-unquote terrorists. That is about as far from the truth as is possible. There is no doctrine that says that you cannot protect your own land that you want to develop and keep as your own. So just because the Turks want to call them terrorists does not mean that's true. You know the old saying, one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. Okay? Now, I can tell you this. The Kurds do not want to be terrorists. They simply want their own land. They simply want self-rule. They want to be a free country. They've earned it repetitively over and over and over by helping us, the United States, downed airmen, lost soldiers, United States soldiers. And man, every time they got us back to where we needed to be, safely. And I'm not going to extend this broadcast any much further than this, because this is kind of a test, and it's also an opportunity for me to demonstrate that we are getting ready to come live with more opinion, some news, and we don't intend to be towing the left or the right line, but we are going to tell the truth. And if it happens to fall in with the right or the left or whatever it is, then so be it. But tonight, I had no choice, even though I'm not ready, to come to you and tell you that leaving the Kurds hanging out to dry will be a stain on our country and our history forevermore if we do not do something about this. I hope you will join me in tweeting, Facebooking, sending any social media you can about supporting the Kurds. And I can't ask more than that. I beg you, from my time with these people, they fought ISIS face to face and knocked them down and took away their caliphate and made the world a safer place. And now Donald Trump is going to leave them to the devices of the winds. This can't happen. We cannot allow this to happen. We have voices. Write your senators. Write Schumer. At Rep. Schumer. At Speaker Pelosi. Write every single person in Congress and Senate and say that we will not abandon the Kurds. We will not do that. And I mean that with all my heart. So I'd like to thank you for your time. And I hope this comes off properly. I hope this comes off that you can feel where I'm coming from and perhaps feel the experience that I'm trying to alliterate to you, and that it will move you to do something, write something, say something, do something. These people deserve our help. For real. My name's David Warner. This is Last Chance Radio. Out.